January 10th, 1870. A man in a black coat signs a single document inside a modest office in Cleveland, Ohio. The winter air is still. The ink freezes slightly as it touches the paper. That contract, one page, a few signatures, gives birth to a creature that will change the fate of nations. The man is John Davison Rockefeller, and the name of the entity he has just created is Standard Oil Company. What no one in that quiet room can know yet is that this company will grow to dominate not just oil, but the very concept of industrial control. In an era defined by chaos, Rockefeller is about to teach the world a new language: efficiency. But this story, this empire, doesn't begin with money or oil or even ambition. It begins with two opposing forces: a father who deceives and a mother who believes. John D. Rockefeller was born in 1839 in Richford, New York, a child of contradiction. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman who called himself a botanic physician. He sold tonics and elixirs he claimed could cure anything from toothache to cancer, all brewed from herbs in his garden. He was, in truth, a con man with a silver tongue and 1,000 aliases. He would vanish for months, reappear with money in his pockets, and tales no one could verify. He cheated the poor, seduced the naive, and treated ethics as a game. To William Rockefeller, morality was negotiable, profit was not. His mother, Eliza Davison Rockefeller, was the complete opposite. Deeply religious, stubbornly disciplined, she raised her children in the Baptist faith and preached honesty, prayer, and thrift. Where William saw opportunity, Eliza saw sin. Where he bragged, she stayed silent. Their house was divided between the gospel and the hustle. John grew up watching both and studying them. He learned from his father that charisma could move money. He learned from his mother that restraint could preserve it. Two opposite worlds, two opposing strategies. And the boy in the middle would merge them into something new: moral capitalism without mercy. By the age of 10, John had developed an obsession with numbers. While other boys played in the fields, he kept notebooks, meticulously tracking every coin, every expense, every promise. He lent money to neighbors and charged interest. He saved every receipt, every cent, every moral justification. His handwriting was small, tight, and surgical. Even as a child, he wanted order, perfect order, in a world that made none. He wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the loudest. But he had something far more dangerous: patience. When others rushed, John calculated. When they gambled, he watched. When they lost, he learned. His father once bragged, "My boys will make me proud. They'll make money the way I did." But John didn't want to make money the way his father did. He wanted to make it clean, predictable, unbreakable. He would take the chaos his father lived by and tame it. In 1855, at 16, Rockefeller found his first job as a bookkeeper at Hewitt & Tuttle, a small firm in Cleveland. He walked to work every morning before sunrise, carrying a lunch wrapped in brown paper. He arrived first, left last. He memorized ledgers by sight. He balanced columns faster than any man in the office. He wasn't just doing math. He was studying the bloodstream of business. He learned that companies rise and fall not by luck, but by the rhythm of their records. Every penny had a purpose, and the difference between wealth and ruin was simply, who kept count better? His bosses saw in him something rare, a calm fire. They trusted him with their books, their accounts, their secrets. At 17, he was already advising merchants twice his age. He didn't smile much, he didn't boast. But when he spoke, People listened because he spoke like a man who knew. Years later, Rockefeller would say, "God gave me money." What he meant was simpler. He believed discipline was divine. To him, God was the balance sheet, and salvation was precision. In those early days, Rockefeller wasn't chasing power. He was chasing control over his time, his numbers, his life. When he finally got his first paycheck, $50 for 3 months of work, he didn't spend it. He recorded it. He calculated its growth. He studied how to multiply it. Each coin he saved wasn't just money. It was proof. Proof that order works, that chaos can be beaten, that destiny, like accounting, can be balanced if you keep your books right. Cleveland was changing fast. The railroads were coming. Commerce was booming. America was expanding westward, a restless giant of industry. And somewhere between the smoke and the sermons, John Rockefeller was becoming something new. A man who could turn faith into finance, and finance into faith. He was still years away from touching oil, but he was already refining something more valuable. A system, a method, a machine that could turn uncertainty into empire. The world didn't know it yet, but the age of Rockefeller had already begun. In the hills of Titusville, Pennsylvania, a man named Edwin Drake strikes black gold. Oil gushes from the earth, thick, flammable, and intoxicating. Within months, fortune seekers flood the valley. Farmers abandon their plows, ministers leave their pulpits, lawyers drop their pens, all chasing the same thing: crude oil, the liquid miracle of the industrial age. To most, it was chaos. To John D. Rockefeller, it was the sound of opportunity knocking on the door of order. He didn't care about striking oil. He cared about refining it. He didn't want to dig. He wanted to control the flow. Because the man who refines oil doesn't depend on luck. He depends on process. By 1863, Rockefeller is 24. He's quiet, reserved, but already a successful merchant trading grain, salt, and produce. He studies the boom with the same cold precision that others reserve for prayer. Every number, every shipment, every loss, he records it, predicts it, and bends it toward profit. When a local chemist named Samuel Andrews approaches him with a proposition to invest in a small refinery, Rockefeller listens carefully. Andrews talks about chemical reactions, yields, and distillation. Rockefeller hears something else: efficiency. He invests immediately. To him, oil isn't a product, it's a system to be optimized. Refining crude into kerosene becomes his obsession, not because of what it is, but because of what it can represent. A measurable, repeatable, controllable process. The first refinery operates in a small wooden building by the railroad tracks. The smell of oil hangs in the air. Workers shovel coal into furnaces. Sparks fly into the night. Barrels of kerosene are stacked along the muddy streets of Cleveland, waiting for the trains to carry them east. Other refiners gamble on oil prices, but Rockefeller studies the flow. He learns where waste happens: the leaking barrels, the spillage during transport, the unpredictable costs of shipping. He calculates everything, and where others see chaos, he begins to see patterns. That's when his genius awakens. The ability to turn data into domination. He cuts deals with the railroads, discounts for volume shipments. He reinvests every dollar of profit back into expansion. He buys his own barrel-making shops, his own warehouses, his own pipelines. Slowly, his business becomes vertically integrated. An empire that doesn't depend on anyone. The other refiners laugh. They say, "Rockefeller's a fool, too slow, too cautious." But he smiles. Because while they compete on price, he's building infrastructure. While they chase profits, he's building control. And when the inevitable crash comes, When oil prices drop and dozens of refineries go bankrupt, Rockefeller's company stands unshaken. He buys their assets for pennies on the dollar, expands his reach, and builds something Cleveland has never seen before: a monopoly of efficiency. He isn't loud about it. No champagne, no headlines, no glory. He works in silence, always silence. He wakes at dawn, prays, studies the markets, and walks to his office. He's not just building a company. He's constructing a machine of human precision. And in this machine, every gear must fit perfectly, including people. He pays well, demands loyalty, and rewards discipline. If an employee wastes resources, he's dismissed. If an idea saves 1 cent per barrel, it's celebrated. Every man in Standard knows the rule. There is no luck in this business, only calculation. By 1865, Rockefeller is ready for war. He buys out his former partners and takes full control of his refinery. He calls it Standard Works, a humble name for a revolutionary concept. Because to him, standard means something sacred: reliability, purity, repeatability. Every barrel of oil that leaves his factory must burn evenly, cleanly, perfectly. If it doesn't, it's not just bad for business, it's sin against order. He's only 26, but his ambition stretches beyond Cleveland. He begins dreaming of something larger: a single, unified oil system across the entire United States, run not by chaos, but by discipline. And beneath his calm surface, a philosophy is taking shape: that the world is not divided between good men and bad men, but between organized men and disorganized men. Rockefeller intends to be the most organized man in history. He studies the railroad tycoons, the bankers, the industrialists. He sees greed everywhere: waste, corruption, emotional decisions. And he decides to become something colder, cleaner, more efficient than all of them. He will not just make money. He will build the model that every empire after him will copy. By the end of the 1860s, the outlines of that empire are visible. His refineries hum like clockwork, his ledgers balance perfectly, his rivals disappear one by one. And yet, Rockefeller remains unseen. He refuses to give interviews. He avoids public gatherings. He writes no speeches. He believes true power doesn't speak, it calculates. As the 1870s dawn, the United States is rising on the back of oil. And in a small Cleveland office, a 30-year-old man signs the founding papers of a company that will control that oil. Standard Oil. It will become so vast, so efficient, so profitable, that even the US government will have to invent new laws just to contain it. But that day is far ahead. For now, Rockefeller sits at his desk, his pen steady, and whispers to himself a prayer he would later repeat all his life. God bless the details, for they are the path to greatness. Cleveland is awake before dawn, the air thick with smoke from dozens of oil refineries. The city hums like a living engine, every chimney coughing black clouds into a pale winter sky. At street level, barrels roll on frozen mud, trains scream against steel rails, and the stench of kerosene burns in the air. Every man in town dreams of becoming rich. Every factory owner believes he'll be the one to conquer oil. But they don't know that one quiet man has already made his move. While others chase fortune, Rockefeller has been building strategy. He sits in his modest office, a Bible on one side of his desk and a ledger on the other. Outside, the oil boom has turned into a fever. Wild prices, bankruptcies, and rumors of corruption. But Rockefeller sees patterns in the chaos. He watches every number, every shipment, every contract like a general studying a battlefield. To him, competition is wasteful, emotional, and stupid. He calls it the anarchy of greed. And he has a plan to replace that anarchy with something perfect: order. He doesn't plan to outcompete his rivals. He plans to absorb them. In February 1872, Rockefeller launches what history will call the Cleveland Massacre. It begins quietly with a knock on the door. Representatives from Standard Oil visit every refinery in town. They don't threaten. They don't shout. They simply slide a contract across the table. Join Standard Oil, the letter says. Exchange your refinery for stock. You'll share in our profits and our peace. Or stay independent and face the storm. It's not a request. It's a choice between integration or extinction. At first, the owners laugh. Who does this Rockefeller think he is? A former bookkeeper telling oil men how to run their business? But days later, they begin to notice something strange. Trains start arriving late. Their shipments are delayed. Their rail rates suddenly increase. Meanwhile, Standard Oil's trains glide smoothly across the tracks, always on time, always cheaper. The secret? Rockefeller has already secured rebates and drawbacks from the railroads, hidden discounts that allow him to ship oil for a fraction of the cost his competitors pay. Every barrel that leaves Cleveland carries his invisible signature. By the time his rivals realize what's happening, it's too late. They're bleeding money while Standard Oil grows stronger every hour. Within weeks, panic spreads across the industry. Owners meet in smoky taverns and whisper rumors that Rockefeller has a secret alliance, a South Improvement Company controlling rates, contracts, even politicians. To some, it sounds like paranoia. To others, it sounds exactly like something he would do. In truth, Rockefeller doesn't need conspiracies. He only needs math. He buys up refineries one by one, not at gunpoint, but with logic. He tells them, you can sell now and profit, or you can fight and vanish. And most realize fighting him would be like fighting gravity. In less than 3 months, Rockefeller swallows 22 of Cleveland's 26 refineries. No violence, no lawsuits, just ledger lines, signed, sealed, absorbed. Reporters will later call it ruthless. Competitors will call it tyranny. Rockefeller calls it bringing order to chaos. He believes the oil market isn't just business, it's destiny. And if he must play the villain to make it efficient, so be it. As he told one partner, "It is my duty to make the world orderly. If that makes me hated, I can live with hate." He sleeps soundly, wakes early, and walks each morning through the humming heart of his empire. Hundreds of barrels rolling toward the trains, each one stamped with the same name: Standard Oil. By the end of 1872, Cleveland is no longer a city of oil kings. It's a city run by one man. Rockefeller controls the refineries, the transport, the pricing, the output. And he's not finished. He now turns his gaze beyond Ohio, toward Pittsburgh, New York, Philadelphia, and the global market itself. His rivals think he's greedy. They're wrong. Rockefeller doesn't crave wealth. He craves precision. To him, inefficiency is sin, and chaos is blasphemy. Standard Oil is not just a company, it's his religion. At home, his wife Seti prays with him every morning. Their children are raised with strict schedules and Bible readings. He gives to charity, teaches Sunday school, and insists that every blessing comes from God, even profit. He writes in his journal, "I believe the Lord gave me my money, and he expects me to use it wisely." He never curses, never drinks, never gambles. He is, by all outward signs, a pious man. But inside, he carries an idea more radical than any preacher could bless: that business itself can be divine, if it brings order where there was once chaos. By 1873, Rockefeller's Standard Oil refines more than 25% of all oil in the United States. His competitors are gone. His influence stretches across every rail line, every refinery, every port. And yet, he remains invisible, calm, silent, unstoppable. He tells his team, "Do not shout, do not boast, let the results speak." They do. And what they say, the world cannot ignore. For the first time in human history, one man doesn't just dominate an industry, he standardizes it. The machine he built now runs itself, and its rhythm sounds like the future. Standard Oil is no longer a company, it's a living organism. Pipelines stretch like arteries across the land. Tank cars thunder down the rails like iron blood cells, carrying kerosene to every corner of America. Every valve, every barrel, every cent is tracked with a precision no empire in history has matched. At the center of it all sits John D. Rockefeller, calm, unreadable, terrifyingly efficient. To his employees, he is both father and judge. To the public, he is invisible. And to his competitors, he is a force of nature. A man who turns chaos into geometry. Inside his Cleveland headquarters, time moves differently. The office runs in silence. Men in starched collars glide between desks, their pens scratching numbers into ledgers. No shouting, no laughter, just the steady rhythm of calculation. Every morning at 7 a.m., Rockefeller arrives, Bible under his arm. He nods politely to his clerks, sits at his desk, and reviews the reports. Every figure matters. Every discrepancy, no matter how small, must be corrected before noon. To him, the world is a balance sheet, and God is the auditor. He reads financial statements as if they were scripture. He can spot a missing cent in a 50-page report. He can recall shipment figures from memory. He believes perfection is not arrogance, it's duty. One associate once said, "If a single barrel leaked oil in Standard's yard, Rockefeller would feel it in his soul." Yet beneath that calm exterior, there's something else, an almost mechanical detachment. He no longer sees people, he sees systems. He no longer reacts to emotion, he measures outcomes. To him, pity, mercy, hesitation, these are inefficiencies. He tells his board, "Do not be sentimental in business. Sentiment clouds the mind." And they obey? Because the truth is, no one really knows what John D. Rockefeller feels, not even John D. Rockefeller. In 1877, a railroad strike sweeps the nation. Workers protest low wages and brutal hours. Trains are derailed, stations set ablaze, the economy trembles. But in Cleveland, the fires never reach Standard Oil. Why? Because Rockefeller already anticipated it. Months earlier, he quietly shifted shipments to alternative lines, diversified routes, and secured private police for his yards. When others panic, he simply watches, his empire untouched. He says nothing to the newspapers, makes no speeches. But his silence speaks volumes. Control is not about power, it's about preparation. By the late 1870s, his reach extends across oceans. Standard Oil kerosene burns in lanterns from New York to Shanghai. Every flickering flame, every glow in a window, is a tiny tribute to Rockefeller's empire. Yet the world begins to whisper. Monopoly, exploitation, greed. Journalists ask, how can one man control something the world depends on? But Rockefeller doesn't answer because he doesn't believe he's controlling oil. He believes he's controlling chaos. To him, humanity's problem isn't injustice or poverty, it's disorder. And if people must surrender their freedom for stability, so be it. He sees himself not as a tyrant, but as a steward, a guardian of efficiency in an imperfect world. But power, like oil, has a way of slipping through even the tightest grip. The larger Standard Oil grows, the more invisible Rockefeller tries to become. He stops attending public events. He declines interviews. He forbids his name from advertising. He wants the machine to run without him, perfectly, silently, eternally. One executive recalls, he would walk through the refinery at night, hands behind his back, speaking to no one. You could feel him thinking, not about people, but about pressure, yield, logistics. It was like watching a man talk to God through numbers. At home, his world remains austere. He keeps strict diets, simple suits, a schedule that never changes. His wife plays hymns on the piano. He teaches his children humility, frugality, faith. And yet, his fortune grows beyond comprehension. He begins donating to churches, universities, hospitals. But even philanthropy to Rockefeller must be systematic. He creates boards, audits donations, tracks results. Charity, he says, must have a return on investment for the soul. The press begins to mock him, the man who wants to save the world by accounting. But they don't understand. To Rockefeller, salvation and control are the same word, spoken in different accents. Still, the empire grows faster than even he can manage. By 1880, Standard Oil refines 90% of the nation's kerosene. 9 out of 10 lamps in America burn his product. Every refinery, every railroad, every shipping line bends to his schedule. And for the first time, something strange begins to happen inside him. When he prays, he no longer asks for strength. He asks for peace, because the order he sought has finally come. But it feels less like harmony and more like silence. He looks at his reflection one morning and barely recognizes himself. A man worshipped by millions, despised by thousands, and understood by none. He whispers, "I have built a machine that cannot stop, and I do not know whether it serves God or me." The next decade will answer that question, because as Rockefeller perfects his system, the rest of America begins to rise and revolt. Politicians, journalists, and rivals will soon unite against him. And for the first time, John D. Rockefeller will face an enemy he cannot predict: public opinion. The United States glitters with progress. Electricity hums in the cities, railroads stitch the nation together, factories roar like cathedrals of steel. Everywhere, the promise of modernity burns bright. And in the heart of it all lies an invisible empire. The empire of oil. 9 out of 10 barrels come from one company. Every lamp, every train, every factory owes its glow to one man. John D. Rockefeller has done what no king, no general, no politician has ever achieved. He has industrialized certainty. But certainty breeds resentment. In the newspapers, whispers grow into accusations. The public begins to ask questions. How can one man own the light of the world? Why do railroads bow to him? Why do competitors vanish overnight? The word monopoly enters America's bloodstream, and with it, something Rockefeller cannot calculate: emotion. Journalist Henry Demarest Lloyd publishes The Story of a Great Monopoly. He describes Standard Oil as a giant octopus, its tentacles coiling around railroads, politicians, and cities. The image sticks. Within weeks, the octopus becomes shorthand for Rockefeller's empire. Cartoons show a monstrous creature gripping the Capitol, the White House, even the Earth itself. Children recognize the image before they can read his name. Rockefeller, meanwhile, refuses to defend himself. He believes truth doesn't need noise. Critics are irrelevant, he tells his board. Results are eternal. But something is shifting beneath the surface. For the first time, America begins to fear its own creation. The corporation. Factories once symbolized progress. Now they look like prisons. Efficiency once meant genius. Now it smells like greed. The people need a villain, and Rockefeller fits perfectly. He is rich beyond imagination, silent, religious, untouchable. He becomes the dark mirror of the American dream. Proof that success, left unchecked, becomes tyranny. And yet, he remains unshaken. Because to Rockefeller, outrage is simply another form of inefficiency. He doesn't fight emotion, he outlasts it. In private, though, he starts to notice cracks. Congress begins investigating his company. Railroads, once loyal, now face public scrutiny for their secret rebates. Competitors who survived the Cleveland massacre begin uniting under new alliances. And a new generation of journalists, the muckrakers, dedicate themselves to exposing corporate abuse. Among them is Ida Tarbell, daughter of a man whose refinery was crushed by Standard Oil years earlier. Her father lost everything, his job, his savings, his pride. And now she seeks not revenge, but truth. In 1902, she begins publishing the history of the Standard Oil Company, serialized in McClure's magazine. Each issue spreads like wildfire. Tarbell's writing is calm, meticulous, devastating. She doesn't shout. She simply shows, with receipts, contracts, letters, how Rockefeller built his empire on fear and manipulation. For the first time, the public sees behind the curtain. The secret rebates, the undercutting, the buyouts, the control of pipelines, all laid bare. And suddenly, Rockefeller's silence no longer looks like strength. It looks like guilt. Reporters swarm his estate. Protesters gather outside his offices. His name, once whispered with awe, is now spoken with contempt. And Rockefeller? He smiles, but the smile no longer reaches his eyes. He tells his son, "Man's opinion changes like the wind. God's does not." But even he can feel it. The wind is turning. In 1890, under growing public pressure, Congress passes the Sherman Antitrust Act, the first law in American history designed to break monopolies. It doesn't name Standard Oil directly, but everyone knows who it's written for. Rockefeller responds with his favorite weapon, organization. He transforms Standard Oil into a trust, a network of companies, each appearing independent, all secretly controlled from his New York office. Every signature, every contract, every shipment still flows through him. He has turned legality itself into another system to master. But he knows it's only a matter of time before the storm reaches him. And when it does, it won't be a business war. It will be moral and personal. By the early 1900s, Rockefeller is no longer the man who built refineries by hand. He is older, slower, almost spectral. His hair thins, his body trembles, his health declines. He suffers from alopecia. His hair and eyebrows fall out completely. He looks like a ghost haunting his own empire. And yet, his eyes still burn with the same calm fire. He knows something the world doesn't, that every empire, every government, every dynasty eventually faces the same test. Can it survive without the man who built it? Standard Oil, now a colossal machine of hundreds of subsidiaries, moves on without him. The system works perfectly. But history, like oil, has a way of finding cracks. In 1906, the U.S. government finally sues Standard Oil for violating the Sherman Act. The trial becomes a national spectacle. Reporters call it the War for American Capitalism. Tarbell's articles are quoted in court. Rockefeller is summoned to testify. He arrives in silence, frail, pale, expressionless. When asked if he feels remorse for destroying his competitors, he replies softly, "I had no desire to destroy. I had a desire to improve." The courtroom erupts, but Rockefeller doesn't flinch, because in his mind, he's not defending himself. He's defending the idea that built the modern world, that order, not sentiment, is the highest virtue. As the trial drags on, the public begins to see two Rockefellers. One, the ruthless monopolist. The other, the disciplined visionary who created stability from chaos. Both are true. And neither can exist without the other. In 1911, the Supreme Court rules against Standard Oil. The company is ordered to break up into 34 smaller entities. To most, it looks like Rockefeller's defeat. But to him, it's evolution. He tells his son, "They have broken my body, not my spirit." What the court doesn't realize is that those 34 new companies, Exxon, Chevron, Mobil, and others, will make Rockefeller even richer than before. He didn't lose control. He simply decentralized it. As he walks through his garden one morning, cane in hand, he looks up at the rising sun and smiles faintly. He whispers to himself, "The machine runs without me now." And for the first time in his life, that thought brings him peace. The gavel strikes. The courtroom hums with whispers. For the first time in 40 years, John D. Rockefeller's empire is declared illegal. Standard Oil, the colossus that fueled the modern world, will be broken apart. The newspapers call it the fall of the oil king. Cartoonists draw him as an old man, deflated and defeated, surrounded by the shattered pieces of his empire. The public celebrates. The government claims victory. The market trembles. And Rockefeller smiles. To most, this would be humiliation. But Rockefeller never built his fortune on pride, only on systems. He understands something his enemies don't. When you split a living organism, it doesn't die, it multiplies. The court orders Standard Oil to be divided into 34 separate companies, each one independent, each with its own stock, its own management, its own fate. But Rockefeller still owns the stock. He is still the largest shareholder in every fragment of his old empire. And as the dust settles, something extraordinary happens. Investors rush to buy the new shares. The public that hated him suddenly wants a piece of his machine. Within months, the combined value of the new companies doubles. Rockefeller's personal fortune, already immense, explodes. By 1913, the man they tried to destroy becomes the richest human being on earth. Reporters ask him for comment. He declines. But to his close circle, he says only one line: "God works through disintegration as much as through unity." It's a line that sounds like scripture. But in truth, it's the purest expression of Rockefeller's philosophy. Control isn't about holding on. It's about building systems that outlive you, even when torn apart. Standard Oil functions like a perfect organism, each cell carrying the DNA of its creator. Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, Amoco, Sohio, Conoco, Texaco, all descendants of one man's obsession with efficiency. And each year, as they grow, so does his wealth. By his 60s, Rockefeller retires from active business. He no longer runs companies, he runs time. He wakes at sunrise, reads the Bible, plays golf, takes long walks. He times every activity, prayer, breakfast, rest, to the minute. His daily routine becomes so predictable that his staff jokes. If you lose your watch, check Mr. Rockefeller's schedule. It's more accurate. He laughs softly. The machine of habit comforts him. But inside, something begins to change. For decades, he believed in control as the highest virtue. Now he begins to discover the power of release. He starts giving his fortune away, Systematically, of course. Not in random acts of charity, but in carefully designed foundations. He funds medical research, education, and science. He establishes the University of Chicago, the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, the Rockefeller Foundation. He hires experts to analyze every donation like a business investment. Each gift must create measurable impact. He calls it scientific philanthropy. To him, giving is just another form of efficiency, a moral economy where generosity is optimized like a refinery. Critics call him a hypocrite. They say he's trying to buy redemption. But Rockefeller doesn't answer critics anymore. He believes history will judge him not by his sins, but by the systems he leaves behind. In 1917, America enters the Great War. Rockefeller's oil fuels tanks, ships, and planes. His refineries supply the Allies with the energy that wins the conflict. The same machine that once served his profit now powers the free world. When the armistice is signed, the world celebrates peace. And unknowingly, it celebrates him too. Yet, he doesn't boast. He doesn't even attend public ceremonies. Instead, he sends a letter to a friend. I have long ceased to look at money as mine. It is a trust to be used for the good of all. He doesn't realize it. But that single sentence will become the seed of modern philanthropy. By the 1920s, Rockefeller's fortune is so vast that economists struggle to measure it. In modern terms, he is worth over $400 billion. Entire nations have smaller economies, but he no longer cares about numbers. He's now obsessed with one thing he could never buy: time. He plants trees, feeds birds, and hums hymns while walking his estate in Pocantico Hills. He greets workers with nicknames, plays with children, tips strangers with shiny dimes, a habit that becomes legendary. The man who once dominated the world now finds joy in simplicity. He writes in his diary, "Man's real worth is not in what he controls, but in what he can give away without fear." Yet even in peace, his mind remains mechanical. When he gives to a university, he demands quarterly reports. When he donates to medicine, he reviews charts and metrics. He tells his advisors, good intentions are useless without efficiency. His favorite word never changes: order. But it no longer means domination. It means harmony, the rhythm between giving and letting go. On his 90th birthday, reporters gather at his estate. They expect the old tycoon to boast about his empire or his wealth. Instead, he says only, "The secret of success is getting up early, working late, and giving something back in between." They laugh, not realizing that it isn't a joke. For Rockefeller, the sentence is a formula, the final equation of his life. He believes humanity's duty is the same as his, to build something orderly enough to survive its own creator. He dies in 1937, quietly, without spectacle. No grand speeches, no public mourning. But his systems live on, in every gallon of gas, in every university classroom, in every foundation that still carries his name. His empire was broken, his body decayed. But his method, control, discipline, precision, became the foundation of modern capitalism itself. And in that sense, Rockefeller didn't just build Standard Oil. He built the operating system of the modern world. When John D. Rockefeller's heart finally stopped in 1937, America didn't just lose a man. It lost the living embodiment of its most dangerous question: how much control is too much? By then, his empire had already split into 1,000 tributaries: oil giants, foundations, institutions, universities. His name had become both a curse and a benchmark. To call someone a Rockefeller was to mean wealth beyond imagination, but also a kind of moral distance. the serenity of someone who no longer blinks at the scale of his own power. Historians still argue whether Rockefeller saved capitalism or poisoned it. Some say he was the first to prove that industry could be organized like nature, self-regulating, efficient, inevitable. Others insist he turned progress into an altar, efficiency into faith, and profit into prophecy. But the truth lies somewhere in the middle, in the tension between vision and consequence. Because Rockefeller never set out to be evil, he set out to be right. To him, morality was math. If 100 small refineries failed but one great system thrived, the world was better off. If competition created chaos, then order, even enforced order, was mercy. He believed that humanity's progress required submission to structure, and he saw himself as the priest of that new religion. By the mid-20th century, the Rockefeller method had become invisible, absorbed into the DNA of global business. Assembly lines, supply chains, corporate hierarchies all echo his original vision of centralized efficiency. CEOs quote his principles without realizing it. Economists model his logic in their graphs. Politicians regulate the very systems he invented, even as they copy his discipline. You don't have to see his face to feel his influence. Every time a company merges, every time an algorithm optimizes, every time a system chooses consistency over creativity, somewhere, a faint whisper of Rockefeller's creed lingers. Order is divine. And yet, for all his control, he left behind something beautifully human, the paradox of legacy. Because while Rockefeller believed systems were immortal, his own system couldn't predict what came next. The oil he mastered became the lifeblood of modern conflict. The efficiency he glorified became the justification for layoffs, pollution, and automation. The wealth he redistributed reshaped medicine and science, curing diseases, saving lives, but also widening the gap between the powerful and the powerless. Rockefeller's life became proof that every system, no matter how perfect, casts a shadow. Control creates prosperity, but it also breeds dependence. Order builds empires, but it can also suffocate souls. In his private papers, found decades later, one line stood out among ledgers and letters. God taught me that power without humility is corruption, and humility without power is waste. It's a line few would expect from the man the world called ruthless. But perhaps that's the real story. That beneath his calculation was a search for moral architecture, a belief that even in the cold geometry of capitalism, there could be grace. Today, when you fill your car's tank, switch on a light, or scroll through a corporate website, you're living inside Rockefeller's idea that chaos can be tamed, that scale can be managed, that the world can be run like a refinery. But the question remains, if we inherit his system, do we also inherit his blindness? Do we still know where control ends and life begins? Because Rockefeller's story isn't just about money. It's about the human desire to master everything. Time, risk, nature, even ourselves. It's the story of how we turned faith into productivity, discipline into destiny, and ambition into a machine. And maybe that's why, even now, he fascinates us. Not because he was rich, but because he built the first great mirror, and in it, we still see our reflection. In the final years of his life, Rockefeller's doctor once asked him, "Do you ever rest?" He smiled faintly and said, "I am resting now. The work continues on its own." And it did. Because when a man learns to control the world keeps moving, even after he's gone. 100 years have passed since Rockefeller's death, The oil has changed hands. The refineries hum to the rhythm of algorithms now. But his system, his way of thinking, still runs in the background of our civilization. Every corporation, every AI, every automation pipeline chasing efficiency. That's his DNA. The same idea that once pumped crude oil through iron pipes now pumps data through fiber optic cables. The same obsession with standardization that built Standard Oil now builds the digital empires of the 21st century. Rockefeller never knew the word algorithm, but he lived by one. A mental code. Simplify, systemize, scale, control. That was his formula for empire. And now it's the formula for everything. From Amazon's logistics to Tesla's factories to YouTube's recommendation engine. We like to pretend we've outgrown his world, that Silicon Valley replaced Cleveland, that digital billionaires are different from oil barons. But the truth is sharper. They're his children. Elon, Bezos, Zuck. Each one follows the same invisible script. Each believes that chaos is a problem to be solved, not a reality to be lived. Yet, there's a quiet danger in perfection. Rockefeller once sought to organize the physical world, oil wells, railroads, barrels. We now seek to organize the mental world. Attention, emotion, thought. He controlled resources. We control behavior. His world had monopolies of oil. Ours has monopolies of mind. If he saw our age, he might recognize the pattern instantly. A few vast systems running on efficiency, dominating markets, absorbing rivals, claiming to make life better, while slowly making it predictable. Rockefeller would have admired it, but he might also have smiled knowingly, realizing that every generation builds a machine too powerful to contain. And yet, there's another inheritance, one he might actually approve of. Rockefeller believed in process over personality, in building systems that outlive human whims. That same mindset now fuels a quiet revolution. AI-driven creators, faceless storytellers, people who replace vanity with vision, and let machines scale their ideas beyond biology. In a strange, poetic twist, the very tools of automation he symbolized through oil and steel have re-emerged as software and data. And we, the builders of digital systems, are standing where he once stood, in the tension between order and creation. He turned chaos into commerce. We turned data into consciousness. He built Standard Oil. We build Standard Thought. But maybe this time, we can do better. Maybe this generation, the machine thinkers, can learn what Rockefeller never could. That control without empathy collapses, and growth without grace corrodes. Our challenge isn't just to build systems that work. It's to build systems that understand why they work. To make automation not just efficient, but ethical. Not just precise, but purposeful. Because if Rockefeller's story was about mastering the world, ours must be about mastering the machine inside us. He once said, "Good management consists in showing average people how to do the work of superior people." In the age of AI, that idea has evolved. Great management is showing machines how to bring out the best in humans. We are no longer just inheritors of his wealth. We're inheritors of his architecture. And what we choose to build upon it will define our century. The camera fades out on a digital refinery, not of oil, but of ideas. Servers glowing in the dark, a single line echoing in the narrator's voice. Rockefeller built systems to control the world. We build systems to understand it. The question is, which will outlast us?